All right, so Mike and Eric today are going to talk about a tool that we use on my team that we implemented, I would say like the first quarter of the year, and it has literally like been a game changer for our business and the production of our agents. So I'll let you guys take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for having us on. And it's a pleasure to be here. We're going to actually share a training that we did with Heather and her team on Circle Closer, which is the software that we're going to be talking about today. But a little bit of background about Eric and myself. We've been working together, Eric and myself, over 20 years now. As a matter of fact, later this, like in a week and a half, it's going to be 25 years for me that I've been professionally uh, had the opportunity to coach, be a coach, a consultant, and also leadership development. So it's a beautiful thing. So we have obviously we've all learned relationships are super important. And when I departed the company that we all know and love in the middle of 2014, I immediately had an opportunity to consult with some of you may know John O'Leary, who's a speaker who's spoken at Mastermind and Peak Experience. I consulted with John, and then I ended up consulting with a group of guys who, back in 2014, it was pretty new to have virtual assistants. And they had a call center which was for uh, ISAs, inside sales agents, and basically people who were buying leads and doing that kind of thing to generate leads. They did that, and it exposed me to a whole other side of the business, a whole other side of understanding, looking at things from a different perspective. So um, we, Eric and I also are owners of a successful product called Circle Closer and Teamsy. And when in early 2015, Eric came to me with an idea of he was a Beachbody coach and he was doing things in that network marketing space. And he said, "Hey, there's this business, the training in this business stinks in the network marketing, and there's no software." So we said, "Let's build a software program." So we did, based on relationships. But in doing so, we realized that all the people in that space are had virtual databases. They had virtual connections, and they didn't have physical geographical locations like you do in real estate. And so it caused us to have to think from a different perspective. It caused us to think, how do we approach helping somebody build business relationally from a virtual perspective? So that challenged us to think from a different spot. So TeamZ was our first product, software product, and it focused on that. We eventually, after me doing consulting with some people, and then somebody in real estate came to me and said, "Hey, I heard you're doing consulting. Can you help me?" We went down that path, and eventually we started Motus Coaching and Consulting, which Eric and I do together. Um, I think we can go to the next slide, Eric. Cool. All right. So at Motus, we help our clients build and grow in we call it 7 essentials of business. And basically, vision and strategy, mission, values, and culture, sales and marketing, client experience and community, revenue and profit, team development, and leadership development. And so what's beautiful about this is that we essentially go into businesses, x-ray the business in all of these different areas. And our coaching is in consulting is customized based on whatever area the company or the team needs the most. And what's beautiful too is that we have some clients who have coaches, and in some cases other additional coaches, more than one coach, and everything we do enhances it. It complements what they do from that perspective. And today, though, we're gonna focus on sales and marketing, because when it comes to that, it's an important aspect. Obviously, without sales and marketing, without generating those sales, most of the other things, you can address those, but if you don't have a foundation of sales, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to kick it over to Eric, and he's going to jump into Circle Closer, and more importantly, the systems we use that's focuses on how to generate the best way to generate leads, and most importantly, relationships.
Awesome. I think as we go through this, you guys, it's not a circle closer demo, though. I will spend like 3 minutes showing it to you. We're going to teach you all the fundamental steps, techniques. A lot of this you guys are familiar with in philosophy, but our tactics may be a little bit different. As Mike said, we by working in the network marketing industry, they were early adopters of social media, and we realized early on that there were more effective ways to do the same things that we had been taught to do for 20 years. So we're going to kind of walk you through some of these today. Some of it may be familiar, some of it may be new. You may be like, oh, that's a good idea. I want to try that. So let me dive in. There's two parts. The first part is how to build a relationship marketing database that will provide a consistent stream of business. So you guys know some of these stats. 92% of residential real estate transactions originate through existing relationships. For some of you, that number is even higher. This is industry-wide. So the first principle here is this, that building relationships is marketing. That is marketing, right? And so we want to get our focus on that. By the way, this is a training that we did for Heather's team not too long ago. So she was like, you guys need to come back and do it. That we modified it a touch for you guys. So everything you do to build relationships is marketing. And it's just changing kind of our mindset on that and thinking about how we do that, how we're intentional about that. The first thing I want to do when we talk about building the database is expand your thinking beyond the mailing list or email list. These are just tag groups in your database. And we talk with agents all the time. We say, well, how many people in your database? They say 169, 300, 250, right? We're like, no, I don't want your mailing list. I want to know how many people are in your database. See, that's just a subgroup. So we want to start thinking about this. Your database is everyone you have a relationship with. Plus, I'm sorry, did someone say something? No. It's everyone you have a relationship with, plus those with whom you want to have a relationship or want to build a relationship. So when we look at what a typical database size, it's usually in the thousands, not the hundreds, right? So think about this. How many contacts are in your smartphone? And there may even be a couple of people on this call or on the recording who I already hit between the eyes when they're like, gosh, that sounds like my database. That's about 300 and whatever people, or, it's 700 people. If you go to your phone and open up your contacts app and look at all contacts, you guys will probably have a number between 900 and 2,000 right there in your phone already, right? How many friends do you have on Facebook? How many followers do you have on Instagram? All those people are your database too. They're all your database, right? Even if they're not in your geographical area. I mean, we started this call with small talk about 3 different referrals being shared from other geographical areas, right? So you guys know the value of that. What about LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn? How many contacts do you have on LinkedIn? And if you haven't thought about all of these groups being your real estate database, hopefully this will be your sign that you should start thinking about that. When we built our tool Circle Closer, one of the things that we did was we made it so that you could get your phone contacts in with one click, get your Facebook friends in with one click, just to make it super easy to get started connecting with more people. And then who do you know in real life that's not in your database? Who do you know in real life that's not in your database? This is something we work with our clients all the time. Sometimes we can come up with 100 people that they should be in the database. They'll get a referral. I got a referral from so-and-so. I should probably add them to my database. Yeah. Yes, you should. Right? Yes, you should. Okay.
So this top tip is shift your focus from lead generation to relationship building. What's the difference? And the whole dynamic of when you connect with people, and we believe whether you're selling a $100 bag of protein or whether you are selling $1 million home, that your job every day is to create conversations. Your job every day is to create conversations. That's the focus. And when it comes to aspect of lead generation versus relationship building, the focus is focused on building relationships. What can I do to make connections? What can I do to create conversations? And when we have conversations about people, when they talk about lead generation comes across not because we say so, but because we hear this feedback from clients is it seems like a task or a chore. I have to do my lead generation today. It's like, hold on a second. What about focusing on relationship building. What can you do to build relationships today that are going to lead to leads and other opportunities? But that dynamic of that, and literally talking to somebody the other day I was talking about this concept, and he goes, okay, from now on, I'm going to put in that time block in my calendar, RBT. RBT it's my relationship building time. So literally focused on that. This is what you need to be doing. It's a mindset shift. It seems like semantics, but really when it comes to mindset, heart set, it's really a different shift of what's my focus. And we also believe energy follows focus. So whatever you're focused on, that's where energy is going to go.
100%. I mean, here's the thing is we focus on the outcome. I want to get a deal. I want to get a referral. And the outcome is the product of the relationship. So our focus is in the wrong place, right? We got to focus on building that relationship so that we get the outcome. And I agree 100% with Mike. If you think of your what you used to call proactive activity time, whatever, just think of it as relationship time. It's going to be a lot more fun, a lot less scary. Also, if you use some of these tactics we're going to teach you, it's going to be a lot easier. So there are 4 relational activities that you can do to build and maintain momentum in your business. Momentum is where we want to be. Momentum is when the business is fun. I mean, sometimes it's insane, right? I'm looking right at you, Heather. You're right in the middle of my thing. Sometimes she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with all these listings. Well, that is a good thing, girl. That's a good day. That's momentum. And you know what? Here's what I always say is that everybody has anxiety over something, right? It's just like something that we have, that feeling, that stressed out kind of feeling. People in momentum, they're overwhelmed with opportunity. And people who aren't in momentum, well, their overwhelm is not as fun, right? So it's like choose your overwhelm. I'd rather be overwhelmed with opportunity all the time. And that's where we want you guys to be, is in momentum. It also lets you be a little choosier with who you work with and what you do with your time, which is awesome. So here are the 4 relational activities. And really, you can boil it all down to this, you guys. 4 relational activities that you can do to build and maintain momentum. Mike already mentioned this. Number 1 is creating new conversations daily. Creating new conversations daily. And when you look at your strategy and approach to your business, it has to be based around this, right? And we're going to specifically talk about connecting with people today, one-on-one. But even all of your strategies, whether it be social media, whether it be what you're doing in email mailings, parties, events, are you creating new conversations? Is this part of your overall plan to create conversations daily? Because this is where the magic happens, is through conversation creation. The other piece is sometimes we can feel like we're busy talking to people, and we can say maybe to your coaches, oh, I've been talking to lots of people. But are you creating new conversations daily, right? That's the key, is creating new conversations daily. Okay, number 2 is adding value and care to the ongoing conversations. Adding value and care to the ongoing conversations. So if you're creating conversations daily, you're going to have conversations from yesterday and the day before that are still happening, right? Because often we're going to be talking to people via text, via message. Conversations can stretch out over time. So the next piece is being intentional about adding value and care. How can you add value to those conversations? And I'll go into some specific ideas and things that you can do to do this as we get going. Number 3 is uncovering interest to build your pipeline. Uncovering interest to build your pipeline. So as you're creating conversations, adding value and care to those conversations, by the way, just being a normal human being, through that process, you'll uncover interest. And those people then go into your pipeline. We call these real talks, or real estate conversations, like real talks. That's our circle closer term, real talks. We track them. We track how many conversations turn to real talks, so we can see the progress that you're making, building these relationships and having these conversations. So it's not just like, hey, how's the weather? How's the kids? But are we actually having conversations that are moving in that direction? Okay. And then the 4th relational activity is following up on interest. So you're following up on that pipeline consistently. The way I see this is this. When you're connecting with people, you're a friend, right? You're a friend. You're connecting as a human being. You're interested in them. You're building a relationship with them, right? When they when they express interest in real estate, they want to ask you something about the market. They want to ask you about the value of their home. They're thinking about making a move, downsizing, upsizing, right? They're making more humans like cat and need more room, things like that. Okay. This is when they're shifting the gears. They're not coming to you just as a friend. Now they're looking to you as their trusted advisor, right? And so following up on interest is it has a different feel than the first three, because following up on interest now is where you show up as a pro. So just to give you an example, let's say I take an old friend of mine, let's childhood friends, we've been friends forever, who, now we're grown adults, and my friend is a very successful attorney. Just for example, right? You guys probably have friends who are very successful attorneys. We're having lunch and we're hanging out and we're talking about whatever, just being together, building our friendship. If I say to my friend, "Hey, can I ask you a legal question?" The second I do that, he's now going to be, at least for the next couple of minutes, my attorney. Does that make sense? And so that's the same shift for us. We show up as a human. When there's interest, we then show up as a real estate trusted advisor, and we need to be incredibly professional in our follow-up. And that's why the pipeline follow-up is so important. We're going to make sure that we're checking in on a regular basis, not just as a friend now, but as somebody who has been tapped and needed for their expertise. Okay. So creating new conversations, adding value and care to the ongoing conversations, uncovering interest, having real talks, and following up on interest. Those are the 4 key things. And that's exactly what we built Circle Closer to do, was to make that so you could get it done in 10 or 15 minutes a day and be done, back out running around with your hair on fire, doing all things that you need to do so that engine keeps on going. So the first step to this, we call it the art of connecting to make somebody's day. Okay. We just want to make their day. Like, that's all. We're not calling them to ask them for referrals. We're not calling, right? We're not going to use some fancy dialogue on them. All we want to do is connect, make their day. And that's the primary goal. And this is the best way to create new conversations. First off, we recommend that you always connect via text or direct message. And I know some of you are really good about making your calls and calling through your database, but I'm here to tell you, most of them don't like it when the phone rings unexpectedly. And if you go to voicemail, which you do a lot, right, you don't actually connect. But if you send somebody a text or DM them on social media, the response rate is incredibly high, right? Especially if your only focus is making someone's day. I'll share with you guys some simple scripts you can use for that are so simple and easy. We've seen the response rate for most people we work with between 80 and 100% response rate from texts and DMs. And people are saying, 20 years in the business, saying I get a 10% connect rate on calling. So it's a huge, huge upgrade. Don't lead with real estate. So when you're connecting to make somebody's day, this isn't, you're showing up as a friend, not a real estate professional, right? Just going to make their day. Don't lead with real estate, right? That's what that comes across is transactional, and we want to be relational. We want to build the relationship. Just focus on making their day. That's it. That makes it easy for them to respond to, and more enjoyable. So here's a couple examples. All right. So real quick on this, I think I already hit this point, but texting and DMing is convenient to the receiver and not perceived as annoying. That's a big deal. Making their day makes them feel good. It's easy for them to respond, and they want to respond. There's a couple little examples of real messages that people snapped and sent to us. One says, "Hey, sweet Tara, I was just thinking of you and how lucky we are to have you lead our kiddos. Hope you had a fantastic day." This was to a teacher. She said, "You made my day. Love you. Thank you for uplifting me. Blessed to know you and blessed to know your sweet family." Isn't this a great way to get a conversation started, right? Hey, hi, Stacy, just stopping by to say hello. How are you? Seeing any good music? Hope your day's awesome. By the way, these are just people modifying the scripts we have in Circle Closer. She says, "That's the best thing that happened today. Thanks, Nick. I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?" So these are a great way to start conversations with people. It makes your relationship building time fun, and it's going to create more of those great real talks than the other way. So, okay. So here's some simple scripts that you guys could use. And again, if you do check out Circle Closer, they're embedded in there so you can grab them. The idea isn't to have a cheesy sales script, but just to give people an easy way to make someone stay. And these are scripts that Mike and I have refined over the years down to their core essence, and they work incredibly well. Here's one that just says, "Hi, Jane, just stopping by to say hello. How are you? Hope your day is awesome." So simple. Okay. "Hi, Joe. It's been a while since I checked in with you. How are you? Hope all is great." These really are simple, right? But they work. "Hi, Jane. I was in your neighborhood today and I thought of you. How are you? Send me an update." And then here's one. Sometimes you may have somebody you're connected with on social media. You might not even remember how you're connected with them. Or maybe you just haven't talked to them in a long time. Here's another great one, which is, "Hey, hi, John. I saw you across my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed. Thought I'd say hello. How are you? Hope your day's awesome." Okay. So these are simple ways to create a conversation with someone. You'll be surprised. This might be somebody you've been calling through for 20 years in your business, and all of a sudden they're chatting with you via text. So the first action steps I would give you guys is this: you dedicate 15 to 20 minutes daily to connect via text or direct message to your database. 15 to 20 minutes. Now, just to be real, if you're using Circle Closer, it'll take you 15 to 20 minutes. If you're not, you probably should set aside 60 minutes. Because we have created that system to make this workflow really efficient for you. So there's really no thinking or planning. In fact, this is probably a good opportunity, Mike, for me to just show a couple screens. Let me just escape out of this real quick. Just real fast, you guys. So, okay, you guys, yep, it's sharing. Okay. So this is the Circle Closer dashboard, and it's a really simple interface to help you do this. You can see across the top are the circles. We break the database into 3 main groups, which is going to be your past clients. That's self-explanatory. Your professionals group is going to be other real estate agents and all of the professionals that you use, your transactional partners, business owners in your community. We put them in the professional category so that you're touching those as well. And then everybody else, that huge group is going to be your contacts group. So those are the 3 groups we're going to touch. Circle Closer actually breaks down your connection goals based on your income goal. It'll ask you what your income goal is and what your average commission is. It'll tell you about how many connects you need to do. Most of you guys on this call, I know, have been in the business 20 plus years. You guys are pros. You've got a responsive database full of great relationships. The good news is you're not going to have to do big numbers doing this to work through the whole database. You can do, 15 minutes is going to do it. Then we've got the 4th circle over here, which is real talks. That's when we're going to log those times where we had a great real estate conversation. And then ads, the last circle, is just adding new people to Circle Closer. The goal is constantly meet new people, build new relationships, right? And just speaking of that, let me just say one thing on this. The goal is not to get referred to a transaction. The goal is to get introduced to a new person. If your focus is getting introduced to new people for whom you can become their trusted advisor in real estate, you're going to get a lot of transactions. So again, it's a mindset shift. Instead of lead generation, we're going to do relationship building. Instead of looking for referrals, we're going to look for introductions. Because that person, they may become a client and they may become a huge source of new introductions. And that's the goal, is to constantly be adding fresh water to your database. Okay, so the way this works is you've got your Power Hour section right here on the front page. You don't need to page through. You don't have to go through 16 screens. It's going to tell you literally who's up next to connect with. So in my example, I've got Jesse. And if I'm going to connect with Jesse and I'm not sure what to say, I can click on scripts. I can choose a script. Let's say I'm going to DM her on Messenger. So I can grab one from there. And these are just make somebody's day scripts, right? So I can grab one of these make somebody's day scripts. I can go send this to her. And then when I log it in here, you don't put first name here. You're going to put her actual first name in there. But when you log this, what you'll see is that circle starts to close. So it's kind of like almost gamified just to make it fun. You're going to close those circles. So I'm going to work down my list until my circle for today is closed and connects with my contacts. And then I'll go to my past clients. My goal's 2. I'll connect with, oh, look, you guys know these guys, Harold and Ben. That'll close that circle. Then I'll go to professionals. I'll connect with one person on my professional list. That's my goal for the day. Those circles are closed. And I know that I've created the conversations I need to today to keep my momentum going in my business, right? Now, when one of those contacts responds and we chit chat back and forth and they have a real estate question, I'll go back and log that I had a real talk. I'll close that circle. Does this make sense? It's super easy. Then when that happens and I log that real talk, I'll put them over on my pipeline so that I can continue following up with them professionally on my pipeline follow-ups. And so without going in further in depth, super, super easy to use. And the focus is on connecting, making that connecting really easy so that you can get in and out 15, 20 minutes. You guys know we work with Heather, right? So she's not going to do 60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Right?
15 already stresses me out because I'm like, oh no, they're going to respond.
Yeah.
That's
So
the goal. That's the goal. Yes.
So
So
when they
that's the
respond, Eric, does it show up in your dashboard and then you can communicate in there versus having to log in to all these different platforms to communicate? Is that how that works?
No. You communicate from the platform. So you'll
Oh,
see the
okay.
response back in your text and that's it. That's on purpose because whenever you send a message through a third party, it looks like spam,
Okay.
but we live on our phones. We live in our text messages. We live in our DMs. So it's, that's normal, but it's also really important that those messages are always sent by you as a person to a person, because as soon as it looks like spam, you become white noise. And
Okay.
this is why, I mean, without getting off too big of a tangent, this is why we're 100% against mass texting tools. That's horrible. That means people won't respond to your real texts. And any AI tool that actually responds on your behalf, we're not in favor of. There's lots of great uses for AI. That's just one that can damage relationships. Okay, so jumping back to my slides. And if you guys want to play around with Circle Closer, you can go to circlecloser.com and check it out. You can do a free trial. So I won't nail that too much more. So getting back to this slide here, 15 minutes a day daily to connect via DM to your database. I was just thinking, I don't know if I probably shouldn't, he probably won't care if I mention it, but just thinking of Brad Knoll. He gets up every morning and goes in his red light sauna and he does his 15 minutes of connects. That's his ritual, right? Gets them done. It's become a relaxing thing to do rather than, a stressful thing to do or something that you want to avoid. But when you do this, it's going to create these conversations that are going to lead to deeper connections. And that's where your referrals come from. It's from the deeper connections, the connecting, being present with people, right? And I know you guys have people in your database you haven't talked to in a while. You're really good at connecting, but there's people that haven't been connected in a while. This kind of a system will help you churn through the whole list so that you're touching everybody a few times a year. And like I said before, rather than focus on referrals, seek to connect and earn introductions to new relationships. If you think about that and you tell people, I want you to introduce people to me who I can serve. They may not be even thinking about real estate right now, and that's okay. I just want to be able to build relationships with more people. So if and when they need me, I'm here. Okay. And as you kind of shift that focus, you'll get more introductions.
So this principle is the biggest shift that we see. And again, everything that we talk about, obviously there's things that we all know and understand that work. And of course, we're not talking about other things not working. We're talking about shifts that are possibly new ways of looking at things. And this is the biggest shift that we not only implemented with people in network marketing, but then when we implemented this with our real estate clients and people who use Circle Closer, it's been the biggest shift, not only in focus, but also in making connecting and those building relationships enjoyable. And here's the principle. We rank based on level of personal relationship, not based on the number of referrals they've given or the business that you've done with them. This is a huge shift in the sense that ranking your database based on this perspective not only makes connecting more enjoyable, because every time we've asked somebody, hey, is there somebody at the top rank that every time they come up every 30 days, you're like, like it's weird for me to connect with them again so early. And the reason is because you may have done a bunch of business with them, or they may have given you a bunch of referrals, but relationally, it's not, you don't have that same level of connection. They may be an introvert, they may be a little bit socially awkward, or whatever the case may be. But every time that person comes up, it's okay to have them at a different rank, where they're going to come up every 60 days or every 90 days. And we'll get into how we rank that. But that mindset shift is ranking based on level of personal relationship and trust versus the past business or referrals that you've been given.
Yeah, I mean, just to not to cause a ruckus, but we feel like if you rank based on past business or referrals, that's a transactional mindset, not a relational mindset, right? And then it's kind of like we get into the games where it's like, well, I'm not going to invite you to my party because you didn't send me a referral this year or whatever. It's about the relationships, and if the focus is there, you will generate more business, if that makes sense. Okay. So our simple ranking system is a 5-star system. It's something that everyone understands. It really doesn't require that much explanation, but the stars regulate how often you connect. Okay, so 5 stars are they're your favorite people. If they're a lead or an introduction, they're your hottest people, right? Maybe a new referral would get 5 stars. You're going to have them on every 30-day rotation, and this kind of supports what Mike was saying, which is if you're not close to this person and you message them every 30 days, it's going to be weird, right? 4 stars is going to be people that you like or know well, your best agents and clients. Most of your family and friends might be a 4-star. They're warm relationships. Every 60 days you connect with them. And that comes up fast, man. 60 days comes up fast. 3 stars is going to be the majority of your database. 80 to 90% of your database will be 3 stars. These are going to be your acquaintances, right? These are your acquaintances. Every 90 days, you touch them every 90 days. But, some of them, to Mike's point, your best client could be a 3-star because 90 days is the right connection frequency for that person. So don't think of it in terms of the definitions as much as the frequency that is appropriate for your relationship. 2 stars are going to be a little bit colder. That's 120 days, right? So you put people in 2 stars, you're still touching them a few times a year, right? Think about that. That's pretty awesome. And then 1 star, those are the people that you don't want to come up in your daily power hour. They're going to be in your database to look them up, but you're not actively connecting with them. They're just kind of in the freezer, right? You're keeping them in storage. Maybe you need to keep their contact or whatever. So that's the simple ranking system. And the other piece of this is when you create an account with Circle Closer, we bring everybody in as 3 stars, unless you import them in with a rank, but everyone's going to be 3 stars. That means you only need to rank 10 to 20% of your database, right? And then you can always move people up and down every single time you connect with them. We put the interface right there so you can change their rank. They come up and you're like, I'm just going to downgrade them 1 star. So I talk to them in 30 more days. So the idea is that this isn't a massive project you need to do every year. It's just something that you kind of take a first pass at. And then as you go, you can refine the rankings and the frequencies that you're connecting with people.
And this is, by the way, that was just touching that for a second. That's for direct connect. That's you directly connecting with them. Doesn't mean you're not emailing or marketing to them each month, depending on what your marketing strategy is. So the frequency is basically based on your direct connect. So it's actually reaching out proactively and creating a conversation with them. So there's a difference too. This isn't the frequency that you're marketing to them, it's the frequency you're connecting with them. So
yeah, that's a good distinction. So we always say, don't focus on the need for the fruit, focus on the nurturing of the trees, right? And when you do that, you're gonna bear more fruit. Okay. So the next principle is one that you guys know, which is consistent connections over time builds trust and deepens your relationships. This is a reminder more than a teach, but the key are those first 2 words, consistent connections, right? Consistent connections. This is what we got to do to build trust and deepen relationships. You guys have heard the story a million times. Oh, Susie she's solid. She loves me. We're good. And then she lists her house with somebody else. Well, I thought we were good. Well, we are good. She loves you, but you haven't been consistently in touch. Somebody else is. She used them, right? So consistent connection's important. You got to be there. You know, if you guys go, some of you guys know my background. I'd spent many years before I went to Buffini, many years working in restaurants. I think restaurant service is kind of a model for all service, right? And I know most of you guys that I know like to eat. So having great service, like think about what great service is. Great service is when you have your server present, right? They're present. If you have an awesome meal, like it's awesome. Like this is like, you know, you've Instagrammed the plate. It's like you're having a great time. And then your server's not present for 30 minutes while you're waiting for the bill. You leave thinking, well, that wasn't a good, right? It's about being present. And the same is true in our business. Being present for our relationships, checking in on them, connecting with them is the most important thing that we can do. Okay, so next piece here, and I need to kind of speed run this a little, but I want to talk to you a little bit at how to get to the real talk from the make someone's day message. Because a lot of times we'll start the conversation and you know, we get a little awkward on moving the conversation towards real estate. So I'm going to power through these real quick and give you guys some tips. The first step is that first text or DM, the icebreaker script, the make someone's day message, right? So we talked about this. Remember, this is easy to respond to. They're going to have a very high response rate to this. All right. Step 2 is using directives. And this is something I learned from Mike. I'll ask him to kind of give us the reasoning on this. But what we're going to do is we're going to ask an open-ended question, and then we're going to follow that in the same message with directions on how to answer.
Yeah, so directives, we've often talked about open-ended questions, which are great. And a lot of times directives you can use without an open-ended question too, but it's directing them on what to do psychologically or emotionally. When you give somebody a directive, they're compelled to answer it. Again, not in a manipulative way, but in a way for you to get information from them. So send me an update is a great directive. The other 3 that you would challenge you or encourage you to use would be share with me. So, hey, share with me this, share with me, what are you looking for in a house? Describe for me what you're looking for in a house. Tell me about what you know, what is feeling, you know, that you're going to have as you go on this next step of your journey of your life, that type of thing. So tell me about, share with me, describe for me, and then the one Eric has here, send me an update, because then when the conversation, you're directing them to send you an update, and they're compelled to say, hey, yeah, I just got back from a vacation in Kauai. It was awesome. Family had a great time, and hope you're doing well. So,
yeah, send me an update is that, to me, that's the most powerful phrase in the texting world, because people will give you 2 to 3 bullet points of their life, almost always. And that gives you so much to talk to them about, right? So it takes the awkwardness out of the conversation. What have you been up to? Send me an update. How was your weekend? You know, I haven't talked to you in a while. Send me an update. They will update you. And then, you know, they'll usually tell you about their job, their kids, their wife, right? Something fun they did. And it gives you great things to talk about. So just remember, an open-ended question like, how are you? It's awkward. People will give you a one-word answer. When you use a directive, it's more comfortable for them. They know what to do, and they typically will do it. Step number 3 is ask questions and use forms. Some of you have heard this: family, occupation, recreation, motivation. I'm going to give you some examples. We're just going to power through these, but this is a way to keep the conversation going and go a little deeper with the conversation. It's important, though, that you don't just like go down your form list and sound like you're doing an interview, right? So use your relational discernment as you use these, but I'll give you some examples. Another thing to do is when they've responded and now you're in a conversation, like go to their social media and look for clues about what they're up to, right? Let them know, hey, I saw your post on this. I saw your post on that. That'll give you some great insight. Okay. So some examples: family. If they have preschool kids, ask about preschool, upcoming or recent holidays, favorite toys. Do they like being a big brother, sister, etc. Right? Simple things you can ask about to get into that conversation. School-aged kids, ask about their sports, their music, their dance. What's their favorite subject? Who are their teachers? What are their plans? I know this stuff seems obvious, but it may not come to you when you're in the moment. And it's really great ways to keep the conversation going. If they've got adult kids, how's college going? How's work going? How are their families doing? Ask about their significant other, right? How are they doing? How are their interests going? Did they ever get that old truck running? Whatever. And then their parents, ask about their parents. How are their parents doing, right? If you know their parents. So these are just some simple things you can ask about. Okay, pets also, right? Ask about their pets. I know there's one for sure pet mom on here that loves to talk about her pets. Okay, step 3, occupation. So what are some things you can ask? Well, if you don't know, ask what they do for a living, right? Tell me again what you do for a living. I don't, just do it. How do they like it? What's the best part of what you do? How long have they been doing that? How did they get into that line of work, etc.? Stay-at-home moms, ask about how that's going. Are they homeschooling? What are their biggest challenges? What's that like, right? We want to acknowledge that as well. This, again, I won't get on a big tangent, but it reminds me of a time I met somebody and asked him what he did for a living, and he told me he owned a home hospice care company. I was so interested, like, right? I had no idea what that would be like. So it was really organic, asking about what's that like? Oh my gosh, Turns out he was very passionate about it. So you never know. Step 3, recreation. If you know what they're into, ask about it. And if you've been doing this a while, you know what your clients are into, what they're excited about, what fires them up. Check in on it, right? If you don't know, you can ask something like, do anything fun this weekend? And they'll tell you, right? How long you've been doing that? You do it a lot, etc. So get into their interests, just have a normal conversation, just be a human being that cares about what's going on in their life. Motivation. So motivation, when we talk about motivation, what I mean by that is, where are they on the spectrum of interested in the market to actually wanting to buy or sell right now, right? So Nigo used to call it measuring the mo, right? So we want to just see, like, where are they when it comes to real estate? Are they interested in what's going on in the market? Are they actually thinking about buying or selling? You can uncover that pretty quickly. A lot of times this will come up later in the conversation, but they will often, I'd say like 30% of the time, they'll bring it up right away. So what I recommend is be ready for them to do that. Be ready. Be prepared to discuss something relevant about the market right now or the business right now. Some of you, that's super easy. Newer agents, you might need to talk to your team leader, your broker, and have some couple talking points ready so that you can show up as very informed about the market. And then communicate what you love about real estate. What is your passion? Why are you passionate about it, right? If you're in it just for the money, come up with something better. Just saying. Okay. But you know what I mean? Like, let them know why you love helping people. Why is it that you're passionate about it? This is important because people are attracted to passion more than competence, right? So I'm going to assume everybody here is competent, but your passion is what they're going to share with their friends. Step 4, add value to the conversation. So listen for wants, listen for needs, listen for pain points, right? I always love a good sarcastic joke. I love some self-deprecating humor because it tells me a lot about what's going on. And actually, don't just laugh at the joke, but ask follow-up questions, right? Like, oh, that's funny, but seriously, how are things going? Or is everything all right? Clarify, find out what it is that's going on with them. Like, just be interested in them. And then help. What do you know? Who do you know? This is the simplest way to help. If they are struggling with something, if you know somebody who would be a great introduction, and introduce them. If they've got a leaky roof, you know how to do that, right? You're going to introduce them to a roofer that you trust. You can also just do a quick Google search and find a relevant article that you can send them. You could send them a website that will help them. Like, just take a couple seconds to address the issue with something that you know or that you can find, or an introduction. This will be huge in building those relationships. And then remember, it doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be anything. Sometimes people just need to be, need a laugh. They just need to know that somebody cares. They may need you to pray with them. I don't know. So just be ready for that. But when you listen to their needs, follow up in a way to help them, that's going to wow them and deepen the relationship. Okay. Step 5, how do we transition that conversation to real estate? At some point, the conversation turns to you, and it's time for your update. So you got their update, you've been interested in it. Now you're going to give them your update. What's going on with you, right? So you do the same thing they did. Give them some bullet points, right? Give them some updates. Personal ones first, family, recreation, and your business. It's always part of it. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Oh, and business is great, or I love helping people, find their dream home, whatever it is. You're going to give them a little update on your business. Make sure you share something relevant about the market and why you love real estate. So I know I mentioned this, but this is important. And sometimes you can have a phrase like this ready, right? That you slide into the conversation, which is like, well, what we're seeing right now is, listings are starting to move again. It seems like the market's picking up steam, and I love it because I love helping people, get a great price for their home, or I love helping people find their dream home, whatever it is. Like, you share that in a quick thing. You show up as a pro and somebody who really loves helping others. And this is important because those little real estate transitions will, first of all, it's going to uncover interest if it's there, right? It's going to uncover interest. I've been thinking about selling, or we've been thinking about moving. Boom. It's like you immediately shift gears. You know what to do to help them, right? But if not, it's got them thinking about it. It's reminded them that you're a passionate, professional person they can trust, right? That's in their corner for them, for their loved ones. It's put you back on the top of their mind, and not in a transactional way, right? In a relational way. My friend, the great attorney, is there if I have a legal question. My friend, the real estate professional, is there if I have a real estate issue. Does that make sense? Or question? So it's going to be way more relational and not transactional. Like, don't forget, if I'm never too busy for your referrals, send them to me, please. Send me your business. And then plant the seed. When you've shared about the market and why you're passionate about real estate, you can plant the seed. Here's a way to do it a little more relationally. Hey, if you ever have questions about real estate or the market, just know I'm always here for you. Right? If you ever have questions about real estate or the market, just know I'm always here for you. You want them to know your heart's to help them and not earn a commission from them. However, we'll take the commissions. Don't get me wrong. We want you guys to be successful. We'll take those commissions. But the hardest to serve them, you're their trusted real estate advisor. Okay. 7th step, ask for introductions. Let them know you'd be honored. Let them know you'd be honored. Hey, if you ever have friends or family who need a trusted real estate advisor, I'd be honored to help them. Okay. This frames it a little differently. I'm not asking you for business. I'm telling you I'll do a favor to your friends. Okay. This is a favor to you. I'll help your friends as a favor to you because I love you, because I care about you. It's just a different approach. Same thing, different approach. Okay. And remember, it's about introductions. Okay. So next steps, if they do want to talk about their real estate needs, get them on the phone, in person, get off the text. Now it's time. Now it's appropriate to have a call, right? Get them in your pipeline and circle closer. Start following up like a pro, right? Start following up like a pro. If they mention a possible referral, ask them to introduce that person to you in a group text or message. That is the easiest thing for them. And you can immediately start working with that new person, right? How many times have somebody said, I'm going to refer somebody to you, and you never hear from that person? So get them to introduce you. Hey, if you could open up a group text and introduce me, I'll make sure that she's got great information or she's taken care of. Okay. It also adds more credibility to the introduction because that friend is on the group text with you. Okay. So I'll just throw these up here for a second. If you guys want to go deeper with us or connect, here's our contact info. You guys can grab that. But while we still have a couple minutes left, we were talking about sales and marketing. So, I walked you guys through the Make Someone's Day process, how to do the 4 actions, relational actions to build momentum. But there's more to it than just that, right? We've got to have marketing. We've got to have a holistic approach. And there's really 3 areas that we recommend being essential to real estate marketing to all of our clients. And it's perfect that we're here with Be Epic because that's what they do too. And those 3 things are having a consistent email outreach, having something in the mail, and having a social media strategy. So I know, Mike, you had some thoughts on that too.
Yeah, you can stop sharing so we can see everybody's face. That'd be cool. So Kat and Heather, share with us. Tell us about Be Epic. What is it you do, and how does it work? Even if I know everybody on here knows you, but give us the details on what that looks like. How does that work each month?
Kat, you start.
Yeah, Kat.
I was
Always
gonna
has to
say,
hear
who do
me
you want
talk.
to start? Yeah, so we have like a multi-touch marketing approach that we have 5 pillars that we basically hit on. So the ones that you've mentioned, we do a social media strategy, a postcard mailing, direct mail strategy. We actually have some of our clients on here, so feel free to chime in, Earl, or anyone who wants to talk about it. I know you love our postcards. We also encourage, beyond just social media, you to have some sort of video component that's tied into your social media, as well as your blog and your email newsletter. So we do provide video scripts to aid in that process. We also have a blog because you need to have fresh content on your website. Ideally, be working on adding keywords to help you rank higher in Google, things like that, and just to provide more value there. And then we also do the email newsletter is the 5th component. And when we first launched Be Epic, our goal was to create a really affordable system that we could hand over to agents and say, hey, here, you can do this yourself. It's not hard. We'll provide you with the strategy, the templates, the content, the structure that you need to implement this. And then you can go do it on your own. And what we found was that while that was great content, it's not that agents don't have content. I think most of you probably have content overwhelm. It's really the implementation piece is where a lot of people struggle. So the Epic 2.0 is now where we have this virtual assistant model where not only do we provide the strategy, the content, the templates, but we also provide you with an actual human being who can take that and implement it for you. Because I find that that's where a lot of people get stuck. It's like, this is great stuff, but it's really just, sitting down and taking the time to personalize it, to send it out, to push the buttons. A lot of y'all don't want to do that, or you just don't have the time to do it. Even I'm sure you probably witnessed this, getting people to sit down and spend 15 to 20 minutes making those connections daily. That's probably a struggle. And then when you add, another hour a day or whatever on top of that to do marketing, it's like your day can get eaten up really quickly with some of these tasks. So I think some of the real value we're providing right now is a full marketing system that you can plug into and you can have it done for you. And I feel like it's for a very affordable price because I'm on the consulting side. So if you're hiring me to kind of do the same system for you, you're going to pay a lot more for it. And, Heather, you can speak to that as well. Like, you have a full-time marketing person. You're still using the Be Epic content, even though you have a full-time marketing person. But like, that is just a much bigger investment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, the reason why Kat and I partnered up to put this all together, a lot of people can't afford to have a full-time marketing assistant. And even if they could, like, a lot of people don't want to have an employee that they have to manage. So that's a whole nother piece to it. So, and then, I mean, for me, if I had to take that hour, it's not an hour to actually push all this out either. I mean, it takes several hours for our trained Hannah and our team to push out this content. So it's a very time intensive process. But the biggest key to it, and I'm 20 years in the business, I mean, I do a pretty large business. I get a ton of referrals every year and they are on autopilot, but it's consistency. It's that I've done this consistently for the last 15 years since we built this out every single month, no matter what. And you guys all get my agent to agent marketing. So, it now comes out a little, we send stuff out more than once a month now because we're trying to do some fun, different campaigns. But it's the consistency piece. And I talked to an agent this morning. I sent her a referral and I said, have I met you? And she said, oh, well, I haven't met you, but I know you because I get your postcards. I get all of your newsletters. I saw you speak on stage. I saw you talk at this breakfast. So you don't know me, but I know you. And I'm like, awesome. And she's going to do a great job for me on my referral. But this is how well it works, right? Like, my clients can't forget me even if they want to, because if they don't check social, then I'm going to be in their inbox. If they don't look at my email, I'm going to be in their mailbox. And then if they don't look at any of those things, they're going to come to my client events. So like, I'm so in front of them. I get people that come back to me that have been in a house for 18 years and I haven't seen them, spoke to them, and they show up and say, hey, I'm ready to sell again. So that's the piece of it right there. And I feel like, I mean, our marketing suite is really great for agents too that do a good business, but they really want to break through the ceiling and take it to another level and get more referrals. And I mean, Earl's on the call. I don't know like if he can speak to any of this, but Earl does follow the system really, really consistently and well, and he's had good success with it. Hi, Earl.
Hi, and I'm just going to give Hannah a massive shout out on this one because I feel like that hybrid may have come from me, not doing it, but no, I mean we're consistent every month with it. It goes out. I mean, I like kind of the hands off. I mean, I probably could do a little better job at monitoring it. I don't do the video as much as I should, but everything else, I have social media going out, I have blogs going out, our postcard, which I get a ton of reactions from the postcard because it has your face on it or your team. It's usually something kind of fun and vibrant. I mean, if you guys got any of Heather's postcards before, it's very similar. I think it's great. I love it, you know, and
you don't have to monitor it. That's the thing, because it's going to happen whether you do it or not. So
whether you show up or not, that's the other part of like the system that we've built in, where it's like, we understand you guys get busy, you fall off the wagon. You know, I feel like there's also sort of a seasonality with real estate where agents will be super busy or super into marketing and planning their business in the fall and in the spring, and then you guys kind of disappear and drop off during the holidays and over summer. And so the beauty of this system is that we are always here to support you when you do want to jump in and have a proactive approach in your business, but also we will carry that load for you when you have to dip out for vacation or you get busy with transactions. Like things are going to go out every single month, regardless of how involved you are or not. Obviously, your involvement makes it better, but we're going to be that consistent piece for you so that, yeah, your clients never forget who you are.
Yep.
Beautiful. Awesome.
What's the website for Be Epic?
beepicmarketing.com.
Thank you.
It's BEE like a bumblebee. So BEE.
And you all probably have Heather's contact or mine, so you can also reach out to us if you have questions or you're curious.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's fun. It works. I promise. I'm proof.
Do it just for the cards, at least. If anything, the postcards, I get clients calling me and texting me about them. You know, I mean, it makes our job a little bit easier if they're calling us, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think too, Heather, you said it, even if somebody can't afford to hire a full-time person, the dynamic of being that creative every month it takes a lot of energy. Even if the person is creative, but you know, the team leader or the broker owner, you know, they want to have their fingerprints in that. But the reality is if they have you guys do it, they know every month something's going to go out consistently. You said is a key word. And number two, creative, because that's what when we work with somebody who doesn't have that in place, that's always the challenge, is being creative every month. And before you know it, the next month comes and the next month comes. And before you know it, they skip something, they lose consistency versus, you know, delegating it to you and having that be a no-brainer as far as it happening.
Well, and I will have to say, like, I can think up the concepts all day long, and I do, and we have meetings, but for me, like, learning how to use Canva is so not the best use of my time, not ever. And so I can make a lot more money selling houses than trying to figure out how to make a pretty graphic on Canva, because I cannot do it. I'm terrible at it. So it's just, we've got a great team that is got graphic design background, and Hannah's she went to school for creative copywriting or creative writing. And so she's an amazing writer. We don't chat GPT all of our stuff. We write it ourselves and we design it ourselves. So it's really good content. So if anybody has interest, just let us know and we're happy to chat about it. So
great.
And does anybody have questions for Mike and Eric at all? Nope.
Oh, I have a question. So I'm intrigued by Circle Closer, but I'm not an agent. I'm a consultant. And so I work with, you know, obviously you guys know what I do, but
yeah,
would it work for my business model? Because it seems
100%.
like it would.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Because I feel like I need to do more of this stuff.
I mean, the only piece in there that for you is going to be, if you use the pipeline feature, you're just going to have to, you know, say their listings or something instead of consulting clients or whatever. But as far as the connection power hour and the way it cycles, it'd be perfect. We have random, tons of different businesses using it because even though it's specific to real estate, they find it so much easier interface than anything else. So
But yeah, my daughter I think she signed up for it. She's in American Family Insurance and she did it to put her lenders into it. So she's making consistent touches with them outside of their big, huge, AmFam database. So I think for any business, if you're trying to stay in touch and close your circles, I think that's the beauty of it, which I think
by
is
the
cool.
way, I didn't mention this, but Circle Closer is $25 a month.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. It's and
Yes.
it's like $250 for the year. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to give up your real estate CRM. You can just get it you can get it alongside type thing. So we priced it that way on purpose because you might use, like, we had clients that were using Follow Up Boss to do a lot of their transaction team management, things like that, but then they use Circle Closer just to connect with the database. So
And
Yeah,
that's
and
how
the
I
thing-
like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I was going to say, the whole goal with Circle Closer is it's about what it doesn't do. And because we get questions, does it do this? Does it do that? No, it's not to replace the CRM that does a bunch of different stuff. Because what we want you to do is focus on making those personal connections and those direct connects. And it'd be simple and focused versus you having to navigate this whole thing. So it's a both and, right? It doesn't do a bunch of stuff by design. It's meant to help you facilitate and stay relationally connected from that perspective. So it is a big thing, and that's why we priced it that way too, so that if somebody else is using something else for some other thing. I think we also had a question sent in. I know he's not on the call, but David Stoney asked about CRM bolstering and asked about ideas about that. And here's the thing: is whatever you can do. Somebody shared with me that you guys had recently had some training on AI, and the focus of that training was, hey, go use AI for the repetitive tasks, so you can do more relational stuff. Like use AI for the stuff that you can just have it go, but no, don't try to have it replace you as a relational person. It's the same thing when it comes to CRM. Yeah, you may have somebody that's going to work for you, an individual team member, do that, but use a CRM to connect with people relationally, and use other tools to delegate, but don't ever delegate your relationship building. Don't ever delegate something that takes you and brings you into the relationship. So same concept. Use AI for all kinds of stuff, but don't ever try to have it replace you relationally. And we believe the same thing. The tools are tools, but you are the value. You are the relationship. People connect with you, and then when you do it focused, like Circle Closer, it's creating conversations in a very focused period of time. Versus you go, my lead generation time is going to be an hour a day. Well, you may dedicate an hour back and forth in connection, but the proactive connecting to building that relationship is super simple, super focused. And don't ever delegate that out. Don't ever try to find ways to circumvent that.
Agree.
Well, thanks for having us, Heather.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
guys
Fun.
so much for coming on. It was so awesome to see everybody's faces too. I can't wait to see you guys all at leadership who will be there, and I'll see you guys too.
Yes.
But if anybody needs Mike and Eric's, if you want to chat with them, reach out to them. They're amazing and incredible coaches. So thanks you all, and I'll see you all next week. The ones that'll be there. Bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
God bless.
Thank you.